The Gambling Files podcast presents Desert Island Discs with your host, Jon Bruford. Welcome back to The Gambling Files presents Desert Island Discs, surely the only podcast in the gambling industry that brings you the favorite stranded on a tropical island desserts of top industry executives. I'm your host, Jon Bruford, and this week's guest he'll be known to many of you. He's been in the industry for quite I'm not implying that he's old. The word legend is overused. Especially by the Greeks, I find. No, we're joined by Tom Nieman, who is principal of Apollo Gaming Group now. Tom spent many years at JCM, which is where I first met him. Before that, he spent a long time in the pinball industry. Tom is in the Pinball Hall of Fame. And if you want to hear that story, look up my old podcast, The Bruford Files, because we went right into Tom going into the Hall of Fame in pinball. It is an amazing story. Tom Nieman, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Bruford. It's a pleasure, as always, to be here.
The pleasure is definitely mine. Tom, sitting in sunny Chicago.
I am. Beautiful Chicago.
For anybody watching in black and white, Tom's American football shirt is framed on the wall behind him. Tom, when I first met Tom, it was when G2E Asia was in the Macau Tower, and met him, shook his hand, and Tom's got great big hands. Shook his hand, and he had a ring the size of a dinner plate, and I'm like, I've got to ask what the ring's from. Is that in case you get into a fight, or because it can't be a Super Bowl ring? And it's you famously played in the Rose Bowl. Was it 72?
It was the 69 season, the 70 Rose Bowl.
69 season, 70. Okay, that makes sense.
Because it's January 1st, so it was technically 1970.
Okay. My sister was born in 1970, and famously in my family, my mum was really pissed off with her because she decided to arrive right before the FA Cup final in 1970, which was Chelsea versus Leeds, one of the most bad-tempered games in English football history, which luckily for my mum went to a replay, and luckily for my sister as well.
Sister.
Yeah. And so Mum actually got to see Chelsea lift the FA Cup in 1970, and then the Cup Winners' Cup in 70-71, of course. But anyway.
And your mom didn't watch the Rose Bowl? Honestly.
I know, but I think back then it wasn't televised on British TV. Not like these days.
You're right. It was on the radio.
It was on the radio in black and white. Tom, here's the deal. And to any new listeners, here's the deal. Tom is stranded on a tropical island. It has to be a tropical island for legal purposes. Tom is allowed to choose 3 albums, 3 books, 3 movies, 1 song, not on the albums, 1 pet from any time in his life, 1 object, 1 dessert, obviously that's key, and 2 pieces of advice. 1 from his older self to his younger self, and 2 from his younger self to his older self. And he can choose when he gives and receives this advice. That's the complicated bit. Maybe it's too complicated. Let's find out. So, Tom, I know you're a big music fan.
I do love music.
And I know some of the music that you love. There's one British artist in particular that I remember.
I suspect you know who I would pick.
Well, let's start with your 3 albums. What's your first album? Just for the record, a lot of people have gone for compilations, which I understand. It is not frowned upon to choose compilations. Just saying.
Given my era of high school, college in the 60s, growing up in the 70s, 80s, you got to go with The Who in my generation. Awesome album. Awesome from beginning to end. And put that group front and center on a global basis.
I was just reading about The Who earlier. I didn't realize Roger Daltrey was originally the rhythm guitarist and the backup singer.
and Richard Starkey is Ringo in the Beatles.
So, my generation. So, when did my generation come out? It's about 68? No.
Late 60s?
Yeah, about 68.
Early 70s, probably late 60s.
Well, yeah, because Live at Leeds was like 1970, wasn't it?
Yeah, which was after.
It was.
My generation was as raw and I don't know, graphically produced. You could just feel the rawness in the voices and stuff. I thought it was awesome.
Well, it must have had a similar impact culturally as punk did 10 years later. Because there is a similar energy to it.
Yeah, punk brought a whole new level of energy. Not one I jumped on, but...
yeah, but if you'd been a teenager at the time, you'd have probably been like, holy
could
shit.
Could have been.
I do. I feel that there is a similar energy to it. Not early The Who, when they were essentially guitar pop. But yeah, my generation was where it all changed. Okay. It's a big opening choice there.
It is. And the only second choice you could make be a group that was just slightly bigger, and that's the Beatles. I would take the White Album.
Okay. Any standouts? Because I mean, the White Album's obviously a legendary recording. Are there any standout tracks for you on there? And is there a particular connection to your life with this, or is it just like?
Well, it's funny because in the gaming situation, I was fortunate enough to work at Bally and then went over to London to the early shows as a pretty young guy. So I got to London 26, 27, 28 years old. I was going back for the gaming show. And I just think the whole concept of the British invasion between the Who and the Beatles was fascinating. And I thought the evolution of the Beatles and the way, to me, the White Album is the standard for them.
Yeah, their musical evolution is extraordinary. But also, of course, I mean, famously, there was the rivalry with the Beach Boys, and when the Beatles first heard Pet Sounds, they were like, holy shit. And of course, Wilson changed recording with Pet Sounds, which is an amazing thing to think. But the way that recording leapt on from Pet Sounds, when people realized what's possible and they started really pushing those boundaries, the Beatles' rise was, kind of in step with that. And I think they sort of benefited from new approaches.
The Beach Boys were so much more, the harmonies in the Beach Boys, the various levels everyone was singing at, was their attraction. And of course the subject, it was the West Coast mentality, surfing, girls, sand, all great subjects.
Great subject. I only recently discovered Dennis Wilson's solo album.
Oh, really?
You ever heard? It's fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, like, fabulous enough for you to think, maybe the wrong brother died young. It's fantastic, and I was not expecting it at all. It's an absolute beauty of a record. Okay, that's two massive albums right there.
Yes.
Yeah. So your third one's got to be something terrible.
To something current times. The movie The Star is Born. It's been done 3 times. Now, the album, The Star is Born, and I would choose, of all of them, the latest version of it, the first version I saw was the Chris Christopherson version of the movie.
Yeah.
But I think that the latest one with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, to me, I play that music a lot. When I walk the dogs, I take my daily 1 mile, 2 mile walk with the dogs, and I've got my either earbuds or open ears on. I listen to that music quite a bit, which should be a surprise to you that I have such refined taste.
Well, yes, it really is. But no, I mean, it was immensely popular. Is there, and again, is there a standout track for you on that album? Is there one that gives you goosebumps?
Yeah, the final song after, what's it called? The where they have found Mr. Cooper in the garage.
Spoilers.
She sings that at the award show.
Yeah.
Will I ever love again? Will I ever love again? Is that what it is?
Oh man, don't make me look it up.
But the whole album is awesome.
Yeah, and I think sort of daft as it probably sounds now, but if you remember, before this movie came out, people were expecting it to be shit. Nobody was expecting what they saw.
It's the third time the concept's been done. There was a very, very early version of it, and then the Christopherson, Barbra Streisand version of it.
Which, it's Chris Christopherson's a legend. It was a very, very good movie.
And that's why you would think the third version of just grabbing two pop names, oh, what's the chance? And whoever thought that Bradley Cooper was going to be able to sing.
Yeah, I think that was the big shock because Christopherson, he's got form.
He's got the chops, but Cooper was not. He was an actor, and paired with Lady Gaga, who is an incredible performer. So
she was fabulous.
You throw those two together and you go, how is this going to work? It's just another remake, and it turned out to be a great combination of personalities.
I'm still trying to find the soundtrack listing and I can't find it. It's got to be somewhere.
I'd have to go to my phone. That's where it sits.
Oh, man. 1950. Oh, no, hang on. No, 2, 3. This is the fourth version.
I'll Never Love Again, I think is the final track.
1937, A Star Is Born was first done. And then 1954 with Judy Garland and James Mason. And 76, the one that everybody remembers.
Right.
And I didn't realize
the fourth iteration.
Fourth one. I didn't realize that the 76 version was written by, or co-written by, John Gregory Dunn and Joan Didion. Writing royalty. I mean, what we learn things.
You cannot name another concept that has been rehashed 4 times that it gets better and better and better.
Well, I went to see Jurassic World Rebirth the other day, and I figure that's the 7th time they've told the same fucking story. But then you're saying, and it gets better and better and better, and it's not getting better and better and better. Not at all. It's not bad, and the kids loved it. But no. Okay, now you've got to choose a song. One song that's not on the albums. I tell you, the inspiration for this, right, is somebody could feasibly adore the song Eye of the Tiger, but nobody is ever going to choose a Survivor album.
All right. Mine's way too obvious. Pinball Wizard?
I was just going to say, but which version? You're going to choose the Elton John version.
Tommy, the Pinball Wizard.
But are you going for the Elton John?
No.
Like the soundtrack version?
I want this. Well, oh man, I did love the movie, the soundtrack. I think I'd go back to the album.
So I think the Who's version,
Daltrey's
the
version.
intro on that, like the jangling guitar. I mean, it is a goosebumps song.
But I've been able to use that as a theme song because it absolutely launched my work life when I made those phone calls to get the rights to the movie, the rights to do the pinball machine from the movie.
Which, for those of you who haven't yet gone to the Bruford Files to listen to Tom's pinball history, that was the first licensed product in pinball, right?
Yeah.
Hence, Tom being in Pinball Hall of Fame. But I mean, that's just so that was you like, oh, this is great. I'd love to meet these guys or whatever. Let's do a table. And of course, Tommy. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect for younger listeners. Tommy is a rock opera by the Who, where the young man is
Deaf, Dumb, and Blind Boy.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of like there's got to be a politically correct way of saying it for 2025, but that's the lyric. And despite being deaf, mute, and unable to see, is the greatest pinball player that the world has ever seen. And of course, pinball was massive anyway. And Tom just happened to be. Tom captured lightning in a bottle.
I did.
That's perfection. Did you ever meet the Who, Tom?
Sure. At the world premiere, the Great Subway Party, when the film launched in New York City, and the subway party after the movie, where they covered the subway tracks with a platform and held the party down in a subway station. And Daltrey and Townsend, everybody was there.
Did you meet Keith Moon?
Mooney, yeah. Oh, I've got a bunch of pictures. And then with Elton, and I mean, just think of the cast of that movie.
Yeah.
Tina Turner sat and had a drink with Tina Turner in this restaurant. We talked about what she did in the movie.
Did you? Oh, Oliver Reed as well. Was he there? Because he was nuts around that period.
I don't remember him.
He would have definitely been at the bar.
Yeah, probably I would have too, but I don't remember him in all this partying and stuff. But boy, it worked. Went well.
Yeah, I bet. I love the way you just casually drop that in there. I had a drink with Tina Turner.
Now, I've got this great photo of me sitting there and having a drink with Tina at a bar. So I don't know I doubt if it was at the subway station. It must have been at another event tied to the movie. But I just jumped on that tour for the summer as it launched and ran around to different cities and gave away games, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does sound shit.
No question, that would be my one song.
Okay, it's a cracking choice. Okay, let's go into 3 books. What's your first book choice for your island desolation?
I'm a limited reader, so I love Malcolm Gladwell, and I think 2 of his books, Blink and Outliers. Blink is based on a concept he refers to as thin slicing, meaning being brilliant isn't always because you stop, thought the subject through, pulled everything together. We intuitively, all of us inside us, have the ability to respond instantly because of what we've culturally been through. And the best answer may be the first answer, the quick answer, not the necessary, well-thought, logical, argued both ways, whatever. Inside all of us, we have the ability to this immediate response to a question. And generally, that's always the best answer. And so I think that's affected me, that don't overthink it. You know, if you've done the right homework, you don't have to think about it. Answer it intuitively. What's your answer to the question?
I think that there's a facet to this, and it's something I was talking with a friend about recently. Some of what you're talking about here is about trusting yourself and trusting your experience, but also trusting your instincts. And I think there should be a lot more of that in the world, because those same instincts are the ones that kept us alive when everything around us wanted to eat us and that kind of
When
thing.
you only had seconds to make a decision, left or right, up or down, this or that. And intuitively, we'll come up with the right answer.
Yeah. And if it's the wrong answer, it's probably going to be over fairly quickly.
That thins out the herd very quickly.
So hang on, are both of those books about basically that subject?
Well, Outliers talks more about why people are successful in life. There's a great topic very early in it, which is the one that hooked me. It's about hockey. I'm not a hockey player. I play football, but I had my sons all played hockey. And if you look globally at the birth date of the best hockey players, they will be in the first quarter of the year, January, February, March, and it's biased towards January. You can do this, every hockey team, every Olympic team, anything you want, because the hockey world sets up its years, which team you can play on a calendar basis. So the oldest player on any team, whether it's 6-year-olds, 12-year-olds, professional hockey teams, were born earlier in the year. And that first team they make, where they're born in January, and this kid's born in October, he is only so many months older, but his skill set has just a minutia better because of age. Then he moves to the next level and the next level, and we cumulatively build our skills. Those in the early months always have a greater skill set. And this has been proven time and time again. And the first chapter of the book is dedicated to the subject of, you can check any hockey program worldwide, and the bias is towards players that were born in the first 3 months of the year. What a random, never would you have figured that out. No. And in my own family, my children, my son, born January, ends up playing at Dartmouth, drafted in the NHL, ended up breaking his jaw, didn't play, but was an exceptional hockey player, born in January. I never put the connection together. But he had 30, 60, 90 days older than the kid standing next to him. And so his ability from a sports standpoint had just that much better, and it had an advantage.
I mean, it kind of makes sense in black and white, but I would never have thought of it.
And I never would have either until I read. So there are factors like that contribute to all of us in our successes and failures. And it isn't always the education and the skills. We inherently develop certain skills certain ways. And in this example, it was that I was 90 days older because I was born in January than the kid, born in April or May. And my coordination is just minutia better. And now we go to the next team, and I'm just slightly ahead again. And it keeps building as you go through and get older.
Okay,
really so fascinating book.
But yeah, when you started with, you kind of started with, I don't read much, but I read a bit of Malcolm Gladwell. I'm like, somebody that doesn't read much, you expect them to say fucking Dick and Jane or something. You don't expect them to say Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh, no, his stuff is awesome. I mean, he's got so many good books on so many topics, but those two really stuck with me through life. As you've read them, gee, how do I apply this? Is my life affected by this? And I can see examples of that.
That first meeting of ours that I was talking about in Macau Tower, you told me about the Rose Bowl, and we started talking about, I think the movie no, that can't be right. I think the movie The Blind Side was going to come out later that year, or it was the following year. But you told me to go and find the book The Blind Side, and that was my introduction to Michael Lewis, who is another one who will find the unusual way of looking at something, the unusual path to the heart of a story, which makes the whole story accessible. They're not dissimilar writers.
Interesting, yeah.
So thanks for that.
Well, that brings me to so I've named 2 books by one author. I know that's cheating.
It's not cheating.
But
you're choosing, dude. You're stranded.
Is Michael Conway. His books, they go on and on and on. He has one of his characters in in a number of his books. Harry Bosch. He's a detective in L.A. Now they've made it into a TV series. I think there's even a movie or whatever. I'm talking about the books that Conway wrote. And this character, Harry Bosch, he's probably in a dozen of Conway's books. And an incredibly interesting, gritty guy who goes from a detective to being washed out because he does it his way. And mostly set on the West Coast. He was in L.A., then he moves north of the city, and I think there's a couple that were in San Francisco also.
Is there a standout book from the series?
The best. Well, I would say probably the first one I wrote, which gets you hooked. Let me tell you, there's an overriding theme in all of Bosch's activities, and he has this one saying that he says to people, and it comes up consistently, is everybody counts or nobody counts. And in life, everything that his life bounces off of is he either is going to stop and everybody counts. I need to find the answer, no matter who it was. I've got to find out what the answer to the problem is for anybody, no matter who they are, not just the important people. And it's a repetitive theme that everybody counts or nobody counts.
I don't know, Tom. Sounds a lot like a communist to me.
Just not kidding. Mr. Bosch. Check him out.
I'm familiar with Michael Connelly. I've read some of his other work because he has written a lot of books.
Oh yeah, tons of books. But the Harry Bosch character, to me, God, I love reading about it.
It's interesting how the sort of the hooks in particularly in detective fiction, it's like people sort of gravitate to different types of hero or anti-hero or whatever. Like my favorite detective, my favorite crime writer is Sarah Paretsky, and all of her stuff is set in your native Chicago.
Yes, you and I have talked about that a couple of times, about the settings in Chicago.
The V.I. Wachowski novels. I mean, they're just... It is the most perfectly observed character, I think, possibly in modern fiction, because she gets old. You know, she develops the same flaws that we all do as we get older, and you don't see that very often. No. You don't see somebody aging in a real way, and it's extraordinary. And I've been reading those books for I don't know, over 35 years. Hang on, she should be dead by now, surely. Okay, maybe not entirely realistically, but she would probably be in her 60s or 70s by now, and she's not going to be beating up the bad guys. But it's really, and I've said this to you before, I think Paretsky changed crime fiction, and everybody else followed. And that's not a diss of anybody. But I'd be willing to bet that Michael Connelly reads Sarah Paretsky.
Probably does.
So if this is Game of Top Trumps, I'd take your card. Remember that, Tom. Okay, we're going to go on to movies now, Tom. What are your 3 movies and why?
The Green Mile.
Okay.
Remember, it's the Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I know it well.
And the Green Mile, the symbolism of the Green Mile is that last mile on the way to the chair.
Yeah.
And it's the portion of the jail that houses people getting ready to take that last walk.
Yeah.
And it has almost a mystical, religious tone to it. The prisoner, it's Michael Clark
Duncan.
Duncan, who is massive. I mean, massive. And he ends up taking that walk, and it pulled you into such a gritty existence. But there was such kind of humanness or empathy by the guards. And I don't know, I found it a really, really, really intelligent and interesting movie.
So so it's from a Stephen King book, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah.
But the book, when the book was first published, he published it, he serialized it. So it came out in I think it was 6 parts, just thin little parts. I mean, it's a big fat book collected, but he serialized it because wanted to essentially be a modern day Charles Dickens. And I think so. I really do like that movie, and I was in 2 minds about it the first time I saw it because it.
Have you read the book? Have you read all the books?
I had, yeah. I felt it was leaning too much towards the sentimental and all of that, but on subsequent viewings, I think it's a phenomenal movie for a whole bunch of reasons. But one of those reasons is it's a long film, but it meanders and it sort of unfolds, and we don't see that enough in storytelling anymore. It's a film that takes its time, and that's how it sucks you in. You're living this, and an extraordinary cast.
I've never read the books, so am I at a deficiency because I didn't read the books and then see the movie? I mean, usually if you've read the books, then go see the movie ends up a disappointment because they have to tell a story in a very short period of time.
No, there's very little missing, and so Frank Darabont adapted it and directed it, and Shawshank Redemption was his previous movie, and Shawshank Redemption, if anything, there's more to it than there was in the novella, and it's fabulous. He really got it. He really understood it, and
Shawshank is my number 2 movie.
So yeah, same director, same author, and same screenwriter, because I'm pretty sure Darabont wrote them both.
Should I be worried that the 2 movies I picked so far are prison movies? I mean, am I projecting or something?
No, I think I'm about to slip into airplane mode and say, Tom, do you ever watch movies about gladiators? So is Shawshank Redemption your next one?
Yeah. What a great movie, man.
But again, it takes its time, it draws you in, and it unfolds.
But the characters, the Morgan Freeman character, was he red? was his name?
His name was Red in the novella, if I remember right. He's I can't remember if he's of Irish or Scottish heritage, but he's got pale skin and red hair. But now I defy anybody to read the book and not picture them as Morgan Freeman because he was so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Oh God, that voice, and the whole the ending on the beach in Mexico. Zehuatenhendo. What was the town?
Oh, I'm not going to remember that. Come on.
Where Freeman finally gets out, goes, and he finds the package that Andy Duquesne, who is
Dufresne
is the
So
lead character.
what I really like about that movie is that it doesn't shy away from the ugliness of it. So there is Andy sexually assaulted in jail. I mean, it's not graphic, but it is really, really unpleasant. But the part of that movie that stayed with me for years and years and years was the old guy who became institutionalized and was released. That is just, I mean, it's beautifully done, and there's
The
hardly any
story
dialogue
of
in that
he
sequence.
was so institutionalized. The day he got what everybody seeks, freedom, he couldn't handle it. It was foreign to him. The prison life was far more natural or comfortable,
Structured, 3 meals a
structured.
day,
And he
perfect,
gets out into
unpredictable.
the real world, and he's working in the grocery store,
Mm.
and this isn't worth it. And of course, has a terrible
But
scene.
like the Green Mile, the casting is really superb. Because the support cast, you've got I love William Sadler, and it's one of his best roles. You've got Clancy Brown, and another actor that I love, who's the chief warder,
Mm.
chief warden, and he's just fantastic. I mean, every single supporting role in that movie, every single person knocks it out of the park. It's impossible not to get drawn in by it. Let's not forget, it was also not a success when it was released, but word of mouth is a
Really,
wonderful thing.
it wasn't a.
It was not. It was one of those movies that found its home on video and people just watched it, talked about it, and it became this absolutely beloved classic because, in the words of William Goldman in his first memoir, Adventures in the Screen Trade, nobody in Hollywood knows anything. And they prove it year after year after year.
Yeah, yeah. So there's two great movies. I'm
Two
telling you,
great
great, The
movies.
Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption.
Okay. So what's your third?
Well, it's the obvious.
Butch Cassidy and the
Tommy.
Sundance Kid.
Oh, Tommy.
Okay. Now, Tommy, for anybody out there that hasn't seen this movie, it's pretty bonkers.
It's so bizarre.
Um,
I I don't want to go back into old stuff, but you know the story where once I did the deal and I get the full script and the book and everything, and I'm reading through and I go, oh shit, what did I saw Pinball and the Pinball being the front and center. I jumped in it and bought the license and got it for Bally. But then when you go into the depth of the movie and all this strange shit going on, Uncle Ernie,
no, yeah.
I wondered, oh, what did I get into? And then I see the premiere. I remember going to the premiere in New York City, seeing it. This is the compilation of it here, and thinking, oh my God, am I in trouble? If I don't know. But fortunately, from the standpoint of selling pinball machines, that son of a gun worked.
Well, regardless of any kind of box office performance or anything like that, and Tommy was not a small film. It was culturally, it's a very well remembered little milestone. And of course, a Ken Russell film, so a British director, renowned for making really challenging movies. There is no Ken Russell film that you'll not leave without either scratching your head or going, Jesus Christ, what did I just see?
What did he mean? What did he say?
And he's a really he is. He's a left field choice for that movie, but given the Who's tendencies at the time, I can totally see why they chose him. And it's a remarkable film. It's still striking. It's still unusual. It's not going to shock anybody now, but people will still watch it now and go, "What the fuck?
What was that all about? I mean,
why did she have a snake?
What did the snake do? But the snake's in the pinball.
Where did the snake go?" Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You've got two movies with similarities and a third, which is very Tom.
Out of left field.
Okay, Tom.
What's next?
Your pet. Any point in your life, you can choose a pet.
I came from a family that didn't really have a pet, grew up without one. Late, I think very, very late, I was out of the house when they finally got a dog or something. And I've had dogs, I think, since I've been married. There's been a dog in and out. I have two of them on the floor in here right now. They're hanging out with me today. But I did have one unusual pet, and it was a boxer. And this was a muscled dog that was very, not aggressive in a bad way, but aggressive in a good way.
Kind of dominant?
His name was Americana Stonehenge. We called him Stony. Maybe that's because we were
Americana Stonehenge when he was in trouble.
Yeah. And this dog has broken leashes. He has broken chains. He has broken windows. He was an incredibly active dog. And a ton of fun. And when I had a household of, 4 kids growing up, Stoney was like a 5th child. And got in more trouble than the kids did. So
it's good that they got somebody to blame.
So I got to pick a dog. Got to go that way. I got to pick a pet. I got to go that way.
I remember I was looking at something years and years ago, and it was about dog breeds and the most popular dog breeds by country. And if I remember right, Boxer was America's favorite dog, according to this.
Oh, really?
Huh. Yeah. Well, they're an all-rounder, aren't they?
Man. He was all muscle.
I can relate. So when your kids were young, they grew up with I've got to say it again. They grew up with Americana Stonehenge. I love the name. I mean, I've got a cat called Bernard Pickle. But I've realised now that I've aimed too low with that name.
Yeah, you got to raise the bar.
Oh, yeah. You wait till my next cat or dog. Okay. Well, lovely to meet you, Americana Stonehenge. Fantastic. Now you've got one object. Now this can be it could be something practical. Like I'd probably choose like a lip balm or something, because you never know if you're going to get snogged on a tropical island, or floss. But it can be anything. Just one object. Might be sentimental, might be practical.
You're going to have to hang in there with me.
Okay.
A football.
Okay.
That's my object. Think about it. All sports uses spherical objects. Baseball, tennis, basketball, soccer, your football. Everything's round. Take the ball, drop it. It will bounce true because it's round.
Yeah.
American football, you can drop it, and it's weirdly shaped, intended to bounce in weird directions. And if that isn't the vision of life, is you better be ready for it to bounce in any direction. If you would drop something, if you do take an action and expect it to come back to you perfectly, that's not very challenging. But an American football, much like rugby, has this odd-shaped device that is intended to hit the ground and do something, and you don't know what it's going to do. Very difficult to get a football to return to you by throwing it down.
Yeah, it's just there to mess with you, isn't it?
And life does this to you all the time. You think you know it, you know the shape, you know what's going to happen, and all of a sudden, boom, different direction. So for me, and ended up, obviously the game meant a lot to me also. But I sit and think of all the sports, everything's this perfect spherical device, but not football.
Also, if you think to a certain Tom Hanks film, the ball as companion also comes with its own name.
Not Ralph. What was it? The volleyball is.
It's the same as the name that's on the ball that you had in your hand a second ago. It was Wilson.
Wilson. That's it.
So you would have your own Wilson. Wow. Although me being me, if I had one of those,
deep, John. You are so deep.
I'd probably end up calling it Owen. Okay, now you are choosing your tropical island stranded. Somehow you can get hold of this dessert.
The English have a very good concept during Wimbledon, strawberries and cream. The U.S. Open is currently being held, and I'm watching that at night, tennis. And last night, in honor of Wimbledon, I took strawberries and ice cream, frozen, not true cream that had been taken to an extreme. Ooh, cream at an extreme.
Call it X-cream.
So strawberries and ice cream.
Wow. Okay. I mean, yeah, because they're both delicious things.
Well, it's a fruit. It's healthy.
Kind of. It's like sometimes when I'm struggling to make things for the kids for dinner, I'll just look in the freezer and I'll just find lots of different tasty things and stick them on a plate. That's kind of how this feels almost. It's like you've taken what was available and made magic. Okay. I mean, I do like strawberries and cream though, because cream's also good for you. It turns out.
Is it as good as ice cream?
Well, it depends. I had some locally made ice cream made from goat's milk. Oh my word! God, it was beautiful. But if you like goat's cheese, oh my word, this is so good. Oh. But I wouldn't necessarily have strawberries with that. I'm not sure that would work. So Tom, we're down to the sharp end. 2 pieces of advice.
Oh.
One from your younger self to your older self, one from your older self to your younger self. Now, older to younger is easier. So let's start. What would you tell your younger self, and when in your younger self's life would you tell them that for it to have maximum efficacy?
So, older to younger?
Yeah.
Yeah, easy. Today, being older, to my younger self, you have to generate your own version of what we call self-confidence. No one is going to adequately give you a sense of self-confidence. And if you don't have it, it has to be self-generated. Don't look for outsiders to reinforce you and tell you, oh, you're good at this or you're good at it. You either know it or you don't. And if you do, believe it in yourself, in your younger self, to develop your own sense of worth and self-confidence.
That's very good, and I like that a lot, because it's something that I very much believe in. And what I've said to my kids, I've phrased it differently. I said, nobody is going to be confident for you.
I think too many people, younger people today, walk around looking for someone to blow smoke up their skirts and tell them, oh, you're good at this or you're good at that. Oh, you should do that. If you've got to wait to be told that, there's a problem. If it doesn't come from inside you, it isn't going to motivate you. It's got to be your own version of your own self-confidence.
Yep, totally agree.
Does that work?
Yeah. It's a very, very good one. I like it. I like it a lot. But did your younger self have any lessons for your older self, Tom? Because I think this one is difficult.
Yeah, that's certainly more challenging. And I think the way I would put it is my younger self would tell my older self, the game is never over. Whatever the game is, whether it's life or this event or your job or whatever, but it's never over. And you have to go out and prove yourself literally every day. If you sit back and stop doing those things, that's what getting old is. That's what aging is. You have to prove your ability every day to go out and do whatever it is. Whether it's still making a living, great, go out and do it. Whether it's still to be out making friends and being social and things like that, you have to do it. But you can't sit back and be passive and wonder, why do I feel like I'm getting older? If you're not out on your hind legs, being overt and aggressive, meeting people, socializing, trying something, taking a class, reading a book, whatever it is, you've got to keep doing shit or you get old and it's obvious. So don't ever believe that the game's over. It's not. You got to go out every day and do it.
It's very good. It is.
Simple things.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll ever be etched in stone anywhere, but
no, but I know an awful lot of people that have gotten to a point in their lives and they have, I want to kind of say, given up.
Passive.
No, they've just kind of stopped growing, stopped learning, stopped being curious, and they've just kind of, and honestly, these are people who are then dead within a few years. Whereas some people I know, and some of these people that I'm about to describe are evil bastards. They do things like play golf. But so there's a woman, or was a woman in the UK, a lady called Jane Tomlinson, right? And she was given a terminal diagnosis. She was given 6 months, I think, to live, and she had a very young family. And she was gutted, right? She ended up living for, I think, another decade. She lived for a long time, way past what she was expected. And I read some of her memoirs. And the thing that struck me is that she always had a short-term goal. She was always training for something or doing something to raise money or whatever. She always had a visible, accountable short-term goal. And that's what I think about some of the evil bastards I know who should have been dead a long time ago, if there were any justice in the world. they're getting out, being sociable, presumably with other evil bastards, having a nice walk, getting some exercise, which works their core muscles as well. Ticking a lot of boxes. And these are guys in their 80s and 90s, still getting out, still being active. And the thing about golf, and I'm not a player, but I've always thought of golf as one of those sports where you can play the same course every day and you'll never play it the same way twice. There's so many incredible variables. And so I think it's probably a constant mental challenge. So I think that kind of fits into what you're saying in a way. These guys, probably quite by accident, they probably didn't calculate it this way, but they have these short-term goals, a constant challenge, getting out, being sociable, meeting people, doing all the things that you need to do as an animal. And, terrible for the rest of us because they live. But I'm not selling this very well, am I?
You're such a charmer.
Oh, honestly, one guy in particular. Incredible. But he's probably going to fucking outlive me. I mean, he's got to be 90 today. He's probably going to outlive me.
My God.
You know what they say? Only the good die middle-aged.
That's it. That's it.
Had to raise that one. Now I'm no longer young.
So that's my hit list.
And it's very good. Yeah. And I can't speak for listeners, but really enjoyed the Tales from the Premiere of Tommy.
Tales from the Crypt?
That's the thing. That's frequently when we speak, if we have time, you will come out with something that I have completely not expected. And, the premiere of Tommy was it today. So thank you very much for that.
That's a lot of fun.
I'm sure there are more as well.
I can't believe that you thought of me to ask these questions to. I appreciate it. John, you've always been a good friend.
Tom, you literally did all the heavy lifting here. So it is me thanking you very, very much. Because you now become, I think, hang on, the second person.
The oldest?
No, the second person who's been on each podcast I've ever done.
Oh. Who else?
You were one of the first people on the Bruford Files. Walter Bunyo. He did the Bruford Files, and we talked about his love of Juventus, which was really, really good. And he's been on the Gambling Files, and he did the 4th episode of this one, Desert Island Discs, where he revealed he has a crush on Whitney Houston.
Wow.
Who knew? I know. But he does like a ballad.
Well, my crush still remains with my lovely bride of 56 years.
56 years, Tom.
Just celebrated.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Commiserations, obviously, to the current
Should feel
Mrs.
bad
Neiman.
for her.
Yeah, totally. No, but she's obviously a very patient and forgiving woman.
Clearly.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Cheers.